welcome to high school, and for those of you that are freshmen, and to Algebra 1 and Honors Geometry. So my name is Mr. Kisner. I'm going to just kind of talk about in this video some things to expect for the classroom, as well as how to kind of be successful here in the high school level, and tell you a little bit about myself. I'm making this video for those students that maybe weren't able to make the first day or had a little bit of anxiousness about the first day. So this kind of gives you that initial input that I felt is necessary as we get to meet each other these first couple days. So let's start out. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I did my undergrad at Ohio State University, and then I went and received a licensure at Capital University. This is my 6th year at Darby and 7th in the district, and 6th year as a basketball coach for Darby High School for boys basketball. I've also coached baseball in the past. I've played football, played basketball, played baseball all throughout high school. I coached baseball at my alma mater, Latonia High School. It's up near Youngstown, Ohio, for anybody who's from that area. As well as at Bradley, I was part of their staff for a while, and also at an intern at Darby last year for the JVB level. I teach Algebra 1 and Honors Geometry. I both co-taught workshop class periods with Mr. Figgle and Mrs. Whitehouse this year, and Mr. Figgle and I have been together for a while as well, so I'll make sure that you find out more about him as we get going here. Hobbies. I love hanging out with my family, and I have a few pictures on the next slide to show you that. I play basketball in addition to coaching basketball, although that's a little bit tougher because those sophomores that I've had in the past, they know as well, but I actually tore my Achilles tendon about a year and a half ago, so it's been kind of a recovery process from that, but thankfully I'm through PT and able to play again. I love working out, and I love woodworking as well. I do a lot of that in my spare time, just trying to build certain things for the house, little DIYer, so those of you that know what that's about. Here's some pictures of us, both of my family. This is my wife, Kimberly, my daughter, Aubrey. This is our very first vacation together. We took a destination trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is one of our favorite destinations, and this is her first time experiencing the beach as well, and you can see she was actually pretty thrilled, but this is the last day. This is us at the zoo. We do have a zoo membership. We go there all the time. This is our backdoor oasis. We built a deck on the back of our house, tore down the old one after we bought it. It was falling apart, and then built this ourselves. I also built this picnic table and then just ordered the 4 chairs. But this is definitely our backyard oasis. When we're home, we're spending most of our time there, just kind of hanging out. And then this is our dog Kiki hanging out with Aubrey as well, shortly after she was born. Okay, so what do you need for our class and for high school? Well, specifically for our class, you need to have a charged iPad. Now, this goes without saying, but inevitably we're going to have students this year that are going to come in every single day and say, I need to charge my iPad. However, let's not do that, right? Try to come in. I understand 1 or 2 days a week where, oh man, I forgot to charge my iPad. I was so busy last night. But, if you don't have a charger, let us know. We can even go to the media center and help get you one. But you need to come in with a charged iPad. Now, if it's not charged and you're a student that consistently comes in with an uncharged iPad, you're going to end up doing the notes that we have or the practice with pencil and paper. Now, let's say that you prefer that method. That's fantastic. I'm going to offer that all year round anyways. But it's either by choice or I'm going to have to make you do that if you don't have your iPad charged. So when you get your iPad, make sure to download Notability, Desmos, Canvas Student App, and GeoGebra. Desmos used to be green. I believe they've updated the app now to be blue, but it is a calculator that we're going to use. That actually shows graphs and all that. So it's a graphing calculator so that you guys don't have to go out and buy that $100 graphing calculator. But I would suggest go ahead and buy the TI-30X calculator, or better, it can be found at Walmart. This is not an ad for Walmart, but it can be found there for about $10. Target also has them. They're the little tiny ones. You will need those for any paper assessment that we take. And there will be some tests where we do not allow you to use Desmos. So again, you need this calculator if you prefer to do that. Now, for those students that have accommodations, we will supply the calculators for you. But again, there are a limited number, and for whatever reason, every year it seems like I end up losing calculators. Pencils. Make sure that you have a pencil. I don't care that it's number 2 or mechanical, but you must have paper or pencils for all of our paper assessments. Okay, they will be written in pencil. I grade in pen, and it's math. I mean, you're going to make some mistakes, so You need to be able to be prepared for the quizzes and the assessments. You need to bring some pencil. Dry erase markers, this is completely optional. We will be using individual whiteboards this year, though. So if you would prefer not to share, just for a cleanliness purpose as well, and you want to have your own, by all means, go ahead and get them. But that is not a requirement, but it is a suggestion. All right, let's prepare you for success. What should I do to get ready for the increased rigor of high school academics? Those that don't, or those that do have an older sibling in high school, you know that high school's tough. It's not like middle school anymore where, let's say you don't do well in Math 7, but they still pass you to Math 8. That is no longer the case in high school. No matter what class it is, you will not receive credit for that class if you do not get a D- or higher, right? And for those of you that are athletes, you must have a minimum 1.75 GPA, which does not mean that you can have all D- on your report card, right? So let's prepare, right? What do I need to do the first week of school or before school starts to be prepared? Number one, know your schedule. Okay, definitely walk with friends, meet new people, do all those things, but don't be tardy to class. That was the biggest difference that we saw last year coming back from the pandemic, is the amount of students that were consistently tardy to class. Number one, it sets bad expectations for yourself. Number two, it sets bad expectations for teachers, right? As a teacher, this is it. Like, this is a new slate for you. Okay, other than the personal relationships I built with basketball kids, maybe through camps through the years, I don't know the majority of you. Right? So this is your clean slate. No matter what happened in middle school, that's kind of irrelevant. What I look at is this first week of school, who's coming into class on time, who's asking questions, right? So doing those things that help set you for success. But if your student is consistently tardy to class, I mean, you're missing the directions that I give at the beginning of class, and other teachers as well, for the assignment for the day. You might be missing the bell ringer. You might be missing, the review time from the previous lesson. Those are all important things. There's some research and studies that show that the first 5 minutes of class are the most important minutes of class, no matter how long your class period is. So think about that, right? Which brings me to my next topic, bathroom usage. Well, every teacher's going to have their own philosophy. This is not a syllabus talk here. It's just, look, when you know your schedule and you start walking your halls, you're going to be able to identify, what class periods I should go in between class, which class periods I'm closest to a restroom, etc. So just maybe figure those out. And then perhaps one of the most important things is time. What time during the day can you go to get extra help? And this may be from a teacher. This may be from your guidance counselors. Maybe you want to change schedules, or maybe you want to talk about tolls, or the ILC, or maybe you need to figure out with the admin something about busing, or something along those lines. Like, what time during the day can you do that where you're not missing class time? Lunch options, are you packing, buying? Don't leave it all up to your parents. Remember, if you eat right, get your mind right. Okay, so don't just be packing chips and soda every single day, or drinking a 2 liter of Mountain Dew as you come into class, right? Eat the right things, get your mind right, be prepared to learn. That's really our goal. Our goal is not to make you, come in and hate being there or anything. We want you to be there with us, and ready to learn and expand your mind. So lastly here, get involved, right? Introduce yourself to new people and teachers. There are all kinds of different clubs. I mean, last year I think there was a Call of Duty club or video game club. There are different activities. You have chess club, math club. Then you also have athletics. I mean, we offer so many different sports, right? So get yourself involved. One of the things I want you to think about is, when you're looking back at your 4 years of high school, how do you want to remember, or what do you want to say about that experience? Was it enjoyable for you? You have the choice in high school of doing so many things to getting yourself involved, so you meet people and make friends. And I can help you with that. I'm happy to help you with that. But think about, how do you want to look back on this 4 years of experience? Okay. So for instance, what motivates you, right? Do you plan to go to college? Would you like to go to college? Would you like to work outside of school? We understand that college is not for everybody, and that's okay. But we want to help prepare you for after school, no matter what that is. Okay. So let's say you plan to be a mechanic. Cool. Well, what classes can you take in high school, and what prerequisites do you need, right? What might be helpful for you? Okay. And find what motivates you. Maybe Algebra 1 isn't motivational for you. right? Maybe it's just the fact that your friends are in that class, or maybe you are a very competitive person, right? Use that motivation. Use it. Find it and use it. Okay, what are your interests? Do you play a sport? Do you want to join, start a club? We talked about that. Set appropriate goals. Keyword appropriate. Okay, if you struggled in middle school academically, for you to come in your very first 9 weeks and say, I'm going to be on the honor roll, like that's a very, very tough goal, right? Because there are probably some gaps in understanding from the previous year. Now, is that an awesome goal? Absolutely. And I'll try to help you get to that as well if you would like to share that information with me. But try to set an appropriate goal. Is honor roll okay? Is merit roll okay? Or do you just want to put yourself in position so that you can just get through? And that's okay too. Like I've had students in the past. For instance, I have one student who took GAC2, which was a geometry and algebra, and he had no intention of going to college. And his goal was just to make money. He wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? So oftentimes he'd be like, I don't really need this. I don't really need this. And that's okay. But he and I ended up building a deeper teacher-student relationship where we were able to talk about the things that he would need to be successful and going straight into his business right after high school. Now, in this case, he ended up deciding ultimately when we had kind of worked together. By the time he became a senior, I didn't have him in class anymore, but his goal was to get an A in class because he wanted to learn as much math and just be as hard of a worker as anybody else in the classroom. So then by the time like the last month of the school year came around, he said, Mr. Kisner, guess what? And I was, of course, no idea. He said, I'm going to go to Columbus State so that I can get an education on business management. And I thought that was fantastic, right? Is it a lot to do with Algebra 1 or GAC 2? No, but that's okay, right? He found what motivated him, his interest, and he knew that he wanted to have a successful business. So he decided to go to college and was very direct on what he was going for. But it just took him a little while to get there. That's okay. The thing is, as a freshman, he didn't hurt himself by having to retake a bunch of classes. He put himself in position to be successful in the long term by getting through and getting by until he ultimately decided on what he wanted to do. And that's what I suggest for you as well. Okay, last but not least, what is your support system? So once you've decided your motivations and your goals, who is helping you achieve those in your everyday life? So at home, who at your place of residence is going to support you getting to and from school? Who's going to help you study? Who's going to hold you accountable, right? All of those things. So let's say, parents have to work and you can't get to school. Who's going to hold you accountable and get you to school? Do you have a friend who drives potentially, an upperclassman? How are you going to get there? Are you going to walk? Are you going to bike? Okay, those are all things that you need to seriously consider because attendance is the number one most important instrument to success, right? You have to be in school or you're going to miss too much. I see it all the time where kids will be like, well, I really know what they're doing. And then they miss 15 days of school and then their grades slip. Then they get anxious about the fact that their grades are slipping and it just kind of snowballs down, right? So set the expectations early, right? How are you getting to school day in, day out, right? Then once you're there, get to know your individual principal and guidance counselor. I can't tell you how awesome this is to actually know who they are. Don't anticipate that they know you or your interests without having met you, right? So we have different principals and different guidance counselors based on your last name. So get to know them. Get acquainted with them. Let them know what your interests are, okay? It's only going to help you in your 4 years of academics, right? And you never know. Maybe later on they can even provide a recommendation for you, right? So get to know them. You don't have to go into a crazy long speech or conversation the first time you met them. Maybe it's just introducing yourself and saying, hey, I'm a freshman, I'm a sophomore, I'm on your list of students, and I just wanted to introduce myself, right? Which teachers are willing to offer extra office or assistance hours? Okay, find out when those are, and do you have a break in your schedule that you can get those? And I promise you, you will need some help. Okay, same thing, writing and math labs. We definitely offer these at Darby. So when and where are they? What time during your schedule can you do those? So I apologize, it's kind of a longer video, but again, I wanted to do this, provide this support for you guys and gals, and I'm going to upload this PDF of this slideshow so that you have it for the long-term use. Just let me know if you have any further questions though, okay? All right, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you day one.